authored that one.
Your office? Are you in this county? Why,
My office.
why wouldn't the
suggested
police
it.
department or the township, these people?
No, okay, so first of all, we need policies to follow. That's.
Well, that's
everyone's
why I'm
policy.
asking who the author is. We need policies to follow, but it shouldn't come from you people. It should come from either the police or
Yeah.
somebody higher up
Not
in
him.
our police force feeding us the policy that's legal and acceptable.
The policies that we take on for our police department, road crew, or any other people that work for the township are brought down from the federal government and or the state.
And they said we have to have an
Guidelines,
attorney?
depending on what it is.
And they said we have to have an attorney draw this up. Is that what it says in there? Because I'm gonna research it.
It's a good idea to have an
Why would
attorney,
you
so
want
you
an
make
attorney?
sure.
Might be a
you
good
get the law.
idea, but do we need to be paying someone to do that?
Most townships have a solicitor.
It doesn't matter. We're
And
not,
I
feel we do.
we're not most
Yes.
townships. So
And
you're
it
saying,
goes
yes,
to
we
the
do have
officers
to have
for their
that.
review.
Because I'm,
No,
okay, I'm quoting you on this,
No,
so.
I'm not saying by law you must have one. I'm saying you would be foolish to not have an attorney to review all your policies
How
to
would
make sure
he
they
have,
meet the laws.
how would he have any idea? This is a small community I've been in for 31 years. You know, we're all neighbors, we're all friends, we all know each other. How would someone like this, that doesn't even live near here, know what kind of policy we need here? Is he talking to anyone when he's writing
It's a
this?
national standard.
It's by law. It's not by his decision, it's by law.
Well,
It
that's-
is normal to have,
Mhm.
legal representation to
Right.
any policy.
Why do
Even
we-
when you're in the corporate world, the legal
Well, I
department
don't think
reviews
that's
all
the
the
point here.
policies.
I don't think, I
Mhm.
understand the need for,
I do too.
yeah,
But
for legal representation. I just feel like you people try to micromanage the police department.
yeah,
In
you sure
everything.
did.
Where do you get that?
Well,
Where
how,
do you
Chief
get that?
Scalia, how about him?
Yeah, what about it?
What about him?
Yes.
Yeah. You know why he was forced off here, and don't let me get
He
into
was
this.
not forced.
Yes,
and
he
I've
was.
seen that on the
You know,
internet
he was
too.
asked to do by you something that was illegal and unethical. By you.
That's not
And it had to
true.
do with your personal
That
life.
is not true.
It absolutely
Okay.
is true.
How do you know? Do you have
Enough,
proof?
enough. All right, so next, police abuse of force will go to Matt next, and he'll review it, and then we'll go over.
As
He's gonna resend it.
soon as I get it, yeah.
Okay. All right.
Can I have a question? Is Eric paid by hour or is he on retainer?
How do we have this, we have a contract with him, right? We have a contract
Yeah, but
with-
so many meetings are included in the contract.
It's
Then
included.
if it works on additional stuff outside the meeting, do you know the contracts are
I
off
get,
the top of your
yeah,
head?
I get an hourly rate, whatever you ask me to do, I bill.
Okay, that's where I think I have a problem, and I think it's probably what we're saying. There is pretty well standard use of force, different policies out there, like we got the one from the DA's office, that we could internally get and develop. When we're happy internally, then Eric should be reviewing it to make sure it's legal.
Absolutely.
But I'm thinking having him do it from the front end is costing us taxpayers additional money, and I think that's where that's where our concern is.
Exactly.
So,
To be clear, I gave the township a use of force form for no charge,
right,
because I'm using another client, I just
Oh, wow.
emailed it out,
Right.
so.
Yeah, well, we don't know that. I mean, we're asking these questions, and all we're telling is basically, well, we need an attorney. I'm like, yeah, we need an attorney to review it at the end. I mean, I worked at corporate America too. I had policy procedures I would write up, then it would go to the attorney, because we don't want to spend precious money on attorneys. I'll be doing a right to know to find out how much legal fees we'll be paying in this year and last year.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
And I'd like to know, can we do specifics?
Yeah, I'm
On
gonna
how
do.
much was spent to remove
Honestly,
Chief Scalia?
all the budget that we get every month, it's right in there, our legal fees.
Yeah, but I want to know how much. was
Specific by
spent
project.
On attorney fees for Chief Scalia's removal, how much specifically and only
He was
that?
not removed, he resigned.
Okay.
and
Because it was
resigned.
forced to by
Whatever,
that letter,
Whatever.
by
You
whatever.
spent 9 months of legal fees.
so chief of police job advertisement timeline.
When is the group coming in to review the police department? We talked about that, or you talked about that at one of the meetings.
They're working on it.
They're working on it
They're
now?
working on it.
Okay.
Yeah.
It takes a long time.
Well, I hope you're not going to be hiring somebody until that's complete.
Or are we gonna train somebody, or are we all just wishing that, like, are we training another chief, or are we hiring another chief, or are
We're
we doing?
discussing that right now, we're going over the timeline, what we're gonna do.
Okay.
Well, I would hate to see anybody that's a close friend or a relative
Of any of
anybody
you.
on this board
Absolutely.
wind up in the police.
Yep,
Too long.
because that's not gonna set well.
I heard that rumor too off the street. There's somebody going around this town, at least one person lying to all you
But that's
people.
okay, we'll see, when the time comes, we will all see.
We'll see.
Yes.
There is no
And you
plan
know
to
what?
hire anybody
I
at this
got a
point.
problem with this, because now that was brought to my attention, that my brother was coming after the job. My brother don't wanna work for this township.
I don't blame him.
So I just want you to know that the rumor going around.
I'm not sure who
it was
you
my
are,
brother,
or your brother,
He
but-
does not want a job
That
in
is
this
not a
township.
rumor that I have gotten.
What, who
I
is your
have
You just
brother?
said it.
No, I did not say, that is not, the rumors I'm talking about are the ones about Scalia. I'm not talking about a rumor about hiring a chief of police. I'm saying to you, personally, I don't have a lot of confidence in this board right now.
No, I don't either.
And for you
Why
to bring
though?
somebody in here as chief of police that is in any way related to any of you, I want to get it on the record.
Or a friend.
Yeah, I'm against it, and I
Okay.
will not give in.
I won't either.
I'm good, I wish you guys would come to
No,
every
don't
meeting.
worry.
I've been to these meetings for 12 years, I might have missed 2 or 3. And I don't recall seeing either one of you until a month ago.
Well,
Right.
guess what? We're here.
Yep, we're
So
here
you don't have
now.
confidence in this board, some of them
I'm
have been here
talking
for
about, I've
12
been here
years.
for about
Well, I
3
used to
months
work
now.
here.
Yeah.
I used to work here. Yeah.
Okay, so we have the job descriptions in front of us. Are there two different descriptions here that,
Yeah, current and the sample.
in the sample? Okay.
We'll have to review that. and
All right.
see what we want to change.
Resolution for park and recreation appointment. So we have a request, did no one from park and rec get back to you?
No.
I mean, she's reached out to me privately, Brandy.
I went to the Parks and Rec committee and let them know that the letter came in.
Yeah,
and I have this resolution.
We really don't have any say on, you guys decide who you're gonna put on anyway, so
Were
we,
were we supposed to respond?
yeah, we weren't really told to respond. We were told we got one in, so,
I didn't know we were supposed to respond.
Yeah.
It just asked if you had any comments. I mean, the township second class code says that maybe I'm recommending the board, so.
yeah.
I don't know her.
So,
I mean, she's reached out to me. She asked about planning and park and rec. I think she's a better suit for park and rec. She has young children. It'd be nice to have some new blood. We need people, so.
okay, so we have a motion to put her on park and rec. Randy Shell. Anyone know her? Have any questions?
How many are
Did
you?
you guys all meet her, do you know?
I've only talked to her, when we did this year's trunk or treat, she reached out to me. She works for a former resident who's a realtor, which you probably know who that is, who lives, in Hidden Farms. I know that she lived, I think, in Phoenixville previously. I think I read on that thing.
Yeah, she has one.
Yeah.
Ask her to come to the meeting, the next meeting, and we
Yeah,
can
that
meet her
would
and
be-
make a
that's-
decision
I'd
then.
rather
That's
have-
usually what they do.
Yeah,
I'd rather have you guys meet her and then you bring your suggestions to us.
Yeah.
Please go and say yes.
yeah.
Okay, so new computer purchase for approval.
I gave you the amount for one supervisor's laptop since Jeff Vickers is no longer working. So I'd like to start with that.
Throw this one away too.
Well, we're gonna start with one. I think the amount's $900, something like that. So Lynx is ready for that. As soon as I click OK, they'll order it. So I'd like to start with that. purchase, see.
How old are these computers? I feel like they just got them.
Yeah, if they're junk, they must have been outdated when we got them.
They're about 3 years old
Yeah,
now.
3 years.
Original.
Yeah.
Okay, motion to purchase,
I'll make a motion.
I'll second it.
all those in favor? No emergency drivers.
We're looking for approval for the temp list. Keith
Yeah.
gave his
I
suggestion.
can't hear you. Could you please speak up?
We're gonna let Keith talk.
Okay.
Keith,
The only driver that's not on the list, currently on our temporary or part-time employee list is Ross Miller. Looking for permission to make him officially as a part-time snowplow driver, CDL driver.
I'll make a motion to accept Ross Miller as a temp.
I'll second that.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Resolution 2021-17 authorizing non-CDL to drive CDL vehicles.
Did you guys check the insurance company on that?
They have no issues with that.
Good.
Just bought my truck, is it?
That was a good one.
Get a motion?
I'll make a motion to accept resolution 2021-17.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Klein Road update.
For Klein Road, for the soil maintenance, we reached out to the county to see, the county conservation district, to make sure what procedures we should follow, so we don't get any trouble for removing any stuff that we're not supposed to. They recommended we contact someone to look at it for wetlands. We contacted a consultant we used. He said he would recommend meeting just a site visit to look at everything, to kind of come up with a plan. He gave us a cost, so it'd be probably $200 to do that. And then depending on what he sees and what he could do a full delineation for approximately $1,200, if that was warranted, after he would do the initial assessment, so that we can make sure we're in accordance with the regulations for the county and DEP on that before we do any maintenance.
So that that initial assessment is a few $100s for the consultant and a few hours of Great Valley's time to meet with me out there to discuss the scope of work. And I think that's step one. And then we can bring that stuff back to the board and see what's needed to proceed.
We have a motion to go forward with the 2 to 3 hours to check it out, or just?
I think we have.
I don't think we need a motion for that, do we?
Up to 300.
Well,
It doesn't hurt to do the motion, so
Yeah, I'll
that
make a
the
motion.
direction's clear. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Township badges, IDs for consideration. Matt, do you know what's this?
I'm
about?
sorry, what do you-
What are the township badges?
Which badge? You mean like a metal badge?
Wait, I got this from Chad. He
Oh,
said
okay.
that if we, the township, would like to get badges made, like what your department did back
Oh,
last year
okay,
or
yeah, we have
sometime.
an agency we use for that.
Yeah, we weren't invited to get badges with you all,
You
but
weren't?
no, but now
Oh.
we're told we,
Chad offered it.
yeah,
He
so.
did? Okay.
It's just for identification?
Yeah, we
Exactly.
have like an expiration on it.
Okay.
It's not involved.
It has a picture on it, right?
Yes.
And our name, who we work for, so if there's an emergency,
We don't
wearing
have
the
the
badge,
ID on it, and right now we have nothing.
so we can extend it to the board and others.
Mhm.
Public Works and myself, if that's okay.
Actually, look into it.
Yeah, look into it.
Do we know how much that will cost? Do we know what the
That's
cost
what
of
she's
that?
gonna look into.
Yeah, there's different packages,
Yeah.
so.
Okay.
Twin Valley Fire Department contracts for approval. So the number that's in the contract matches what we budgeted.
I'll make a motion to sign the agreement.
CN High traffic signal maintenance agreements for approval. And once again, those are in line with this.
I'm gonna request that we add this 176 Route 1023 to our annual, to that contract. Matt was unable to provide me a price before your meeting, but it'll fall in line with the other intersections. So if it's $300 each cycle, so it's $600 a year. I think if you have the sheet in front of you, that's a fair assessment.
Yeah.
We're responsible for that, and I would just like to see, let us verify it and have inspected it's done. And we'll take it up with Clock Tower for the maintenance that's reported. in
What does
that
CM
inspection.
mean? CM, what does that mean?
It's
It's
the
a
The
company,
name of the company.
the company is C as in
That's
Charlie,
the
M as in
lights.
Michael High, I don't know.
You don't know what it stands for?
So
Okay.
176 was never on this list?
No, because the clock tower was doing the maintenance on it, but over the last number of years, I've been unable to get them to perform maintenance, so I'm gonna add it to our list. That way we can see what's delinquent or deficient, and the board can direct them to make the repairs, or we'll make the repairs. And
Now, are those costs gonna be recoverable with our current contract?
we pass those inspection costs to everybody that we have an agreement with.
Do we wanna talk about that light or
Yeah, I think it's listed just a couple points down. Yeah, the 176 traffic signal update.
Yeah, it's listed down. We can talk about it now if you want.
I just wanna do that.
We may as well, we're on the subject, so.
It was lovely this morning, I know that.
Yeah.
On that topic, I don't have anything more to add other than my email to the board. And I propose a recommended motion for you to get that traffic signal fixed.
So that motion would be CM High to repair the traffic control signal at Route 23 and 176, consistent with its December 8, 2020 estimate in the amount of $27,600, for which the township shall be responsible for a payment of $500 deductible. Remainder to be reimbursed by the township's insurer. So we have a $500 deductible, the insurance is gonna pay the rest.
I make that motion.
I'll second that motion.
Motion and a second, all those in favor?
Aye. Keith, did they give a time frame?
They did not give a time frame. I will tell you that last conversation, PennDOT was down to one vendor to make those standards. I'm gonna tell you 45 to 60 days is probably very reasonable till you would see any activity there.
What was wrong with it this morning?
Somebody hit it this morning. It was involved in a hit and run this morning. So that's a new.
The artificial,
Yes, the temporary one was struck again.
it was a mess.
Temporary.
And 176 was backed up as far as I can see.
Great.
So I think,
what about the-
in taking things out of order, there was no vote on the preventative maintenance agreement. So if you wanted to,
Motion to do preventive maintenance padding 176.
I'll make that motion.
Two lights, right? Keith?
Just the
Yeah,
176 intersection.
So the motion?
Second.
Yep. Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
I have a question, so we're talking about lights or possible lights. 23 and 401, again, had a pretty major accident again, and I kind of know the story behind that, but, you know, what can we do and to get a light there?
Somebody has put up $500,000 to put one.
That's what I want, I wanted that, yeah.
We're dealing with Scott Anderson now, he's gone, I think we'll follow up with Dave Valley, but we're waiting on grants to become available because it is costly to put that in.
Okay.
Yeah, he did do a study, he said because of the accidents down there, they might be able to do a study or something like that, because of all the
No.
accidents, he was gonna put in for maybe an emergency or something? No?
No.
It was
He
discussed
checked into
right?
that and it wasn't gonna work out.
Right. It was discussed
If you do
Okay.
the study and the warrant would be there, you would be responsible to take action inside of a period of time of 60 days, 180 days, and then you're obligated to that $1 million
So
improvement.
that's why we're waiting for grants.
Okay.
Unless the school district wants to pay for it.
I had heard something about.
Sorry, I didn't hear what you had to say.
I know, I was trying to get the casino to pay for it, but who knows when they'll be here.
Okay, Thousand Oaks Boulevard Detention Basin update.
We contacted Iron Mountain, the property owner, about that. They came in and cleaned out some of the inlets and the outlet structure for the detention facility, which was causing the backing up onto Thousand Oaks Boulevard. So they did address concerns at this point on that.
Any questions there? True Valley Mariner Pipeline Grant update.
For that was, my understanding is we need to get the school district to sign some of the forms to keep that, get moving on that, or proceed further on that. And I guess we would be looking for, I'm not 100% sure, they were saying, we assumed it's the superintendent, I don't know if there was a different person listed that has to sign that. But that's kind of the thought. I don't know a lot about this, I'm filling in.
Well, he's,
Word you're saying.
you come on up.
Actually, I pointed at him, I was hoping that he would hear what you were saying.
My understanding, and I apologize, I'm filling in for the meeting tonight, is that there's a form for the grant that they got that needs to be signed by the school district. I'm not sure exactly who needs to sign
You have that
it.
form right now?
I don't have it with me. I can,
How about you send it over to the office?
okay, I can get that taken
I
care of.
probably can sign for it.
Okay, I will,
But it has to do with the Mariner grant?
Yeah.
correct.
Yes.
Okay. I'm sorry, I couldn't hear you.
I just thought you probably wanna hear that, that's why
Okay.
We'd like to see that grant be put to use.
yes.
Mandatory connection ordinance draft for approval.
I'd like to comment on that, Chairman of the Water Authority, and Josh is here, he's on the Water Authority too. Did somebody request this, that we change the ordinance of Banya Sarasota? Or why did we have to go through this?
Yes.
Somebody did request it.
Your solicitor did, yes.
Well, yeah, he had some, big old, wording in there that probably wouldn't fit today. Last time it was done in 1976. I'm just asking that, I talked to him about this quite a bit. And I do have a new one here, which, the Water Authority's approval, excuse me, is approval for. We're approved of it, talked to him this morning, everything that, we're suggesting now, we're approved of the Water Authority. My concern is, we're in a township to give people pure, clean water and give people service. And so if the board, which you know we had a problem here not long ago with this, we're just looking for the board to stick back at us and support us, because we need customers like everybody else. But we did go over it, and we approved a new ordinance that would give us. Anybody wants to know what they're talking about there, they could ask questions.
So he has the same copy that we have,
I assume so. This was shared with their solicitor. It was initially drafted by their solicitor. You provided input. And the most significant change since the last version that you saw was made at your direction to make sure that residents that already exist will not be compelled to connect to public water unless they, for whatever reason, do not have or are unable to continue to provide well water. And so the two sections that I highlighted at the bottom of page 2 are intended to address the board's concern there. So now it reads that an improved property used as a residence prior to the passage of this ordinance shall have the option but not the duty to connect to the public water system. Connection to the public water system of any improved property used as a residence prior to the passage of this ordinance shall only be required if the principal building on the improved property is no supply of water, safe for human consumption, or 2, the improved property requires fire service, meaning sprinklers. And so that is the change. Any new residents proposed that they'll be constructed post enactment of this ordinance will be required to connect, or could conceivably be required to connect if the board chooses to go that way, if they're within 150 feet. All the other changes have been since the initial draft of this that's been circulated over the last probably 12 months.
So based on this wording, if someone has a well failure on an existing property, would they be able to go out and drill a new well on that property? Or they would have to hook up at that point?
I would say if they can safely drill a new well and they can have it permitted, then they would not be required to connect, because the improved property would still have a safe water supply.
Can I ask where we're talking about? Where in Morgantown are we talking?
Well, this is actually the ordinance for the entire township, okay, but it was brought to our attention because there was a tie-in down on Mill Road in particular.
Would this affect Mountaineer Village then? No,
No.
okay.
This is what I think brought about this. I disagree with the attorney there. Our attorney did not bring this up. We heard that the board was gonna change the ordinance. This is back some months ago. And, so of course we reviewed it, and, so the 2 attorneys from the township and Maryland from our, water authority, they worked on this to upgrade it. What we were looking for is, we run a water line past different buildings there in Mill Road, and by ordinance, we were allowed to, by the old ordinance, make them hook up. And it was brought to the supervisors. We, as a water board, waived that for those people, so no, you don't have to hook up. And this is where this all started from. So now, if somebody would build a house in Caernarvon Township and rerun the water line past them, they're not, this ordinance says they don't have, it's 150 feet, they don't have to hook up. Other words, that's what the ordinance is made for, that they, if they wanna hook up, fine, that's great, but they're not ordered or commanded to by law. That's where it comes from.
If it's new construction, it would be mandated. Mr. White,
Yeah, it's new construction that would be mandated.
Could you guys, from some of these people weren't here for the initial discussion, what is the estimated cost for a hookup?
$1,800 a tap fee. That gives you a new meter, and everything, excuse me, and they would have to run the water line to a curb box where our main is. It's $1,800 tap fee, they call that, for just a residential, not a commercial. And then, for a 3-month supply, it would be, I just checked with the secretary this morning, $70.81 for 3 months supply of water.
There's a minimum charge.
Minimum
And the minimum is
5,000 gallons. For me, I don't understand why anybody wouldn't want pure water, which EEP and ETPE requires today, and you might say, well, I don't know, contamination, well, you got, just look at Michigan, and the problem is anybody knows what they had out there with lead in their water. Nitrates, Bacti, sample any of your wells, you got it, and just go sample and you'll see what I mean. But that's beside the point. Why somebody wouldn't want to hook up to us for $70, 3 months, 5,000 gallon water, that's, I have down here, $283 a year. Well, you go to sport event, I figured out here you probably spend somewhere around $50, $60 just to get into a sporting event and get some food, and then you get, and you think nothing of that. But you wouldn't think of your family, and you just have to read up on a lot of the health issues that are involved in water that is not treated. That's a sign point. If somebody didn't want to hook it up because they don't want to pay the fees, I don't think it's price is where it is whatsoever to maintain a pump and all that kind of stuff. But, it's the new ordinance, it's well written, and I talked to Mayor today about it, and, he feels it's, legal, and so the board, we will approve of it next board meeting.
Does anyone need more time to review it, or are we ready to make a motion on it?
I think it's fine. So your next step would be a motion to advertise the ordinance for enactment at a future meeting.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second that.
Motion and a second, all those in favor?
Aye.
Just one point of clarification. So if, let's say somebody sells their property and they say they had a well, would the new owners have to be hooked up to the public?
No.
Okay, because I had an issue like that in Elverson, that property was going to buy it. It was required, so I wanted to verify that.
But the
The
well will
grandfather
have to
lives with
be,
the property, not the owner, correct? The grandfather, yes.
Okay,
the well will have to be tested to make sure that it's
yeah,
drinkable water.
yeah,
I mean, the bottom line is here, it's all about fresh water. It's
Yeah.
all about good
Yes.
water.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if someone's well is bad and there's water main out front, yeah, they gotta tie in.
yeah. I had an issue in Elverson, a property. That's how I met Gary's dad, was actually, it was Summerfield, it was a house next to it, had to be hooked up to the public sewer, or I wouldn't get an occupancy permit, so we didn't buy the house. But,
And Mr. Weaver, I understand what you're saying, it's $1,800 just for the tap-in fee, but that's not the construction, correct?
Oh, it's much more than that. total.
Between $6,000 and $10,000 would be a fair estimate for a
To
hookup.
hook up the water for us, you run the water line from your house to a curb box, a main is only, what, 100 feet away? $10,000? You got the wrong.
I'm
asking.
Yeah, we're asking.
Maybe if you're hooking up sewer also, but not just water.
Yeah, you're doing something else, sewer, yeah.
Well, I'm asking, it's $1,800 just for the tap, just to tap into your main.
Right.
But you still have the construction, excavation, materials, all that stuff from the curb stop to the house. How much guesstimate is that gonna cost?
I don't know the figures in front of me whatsoever, it depends how far you have to go.
I get that, I just
Just going here from the
I'm
road
just looking
in
for a
here.
ballpark. And then my next question would be, what is it for commercial tap-ins?
Oh, that varies how much water you're gonna use, that goes by the size of the pipe. You got, first, all house residential is at 3/4 inch. Some of them have 1 inch, the new recommendation, the other one.
What's bottom line for a commercial?
Oh, boy, I still don't have the figures. I would say, if they're only using it for office and bathrooms and
It
things
goes by
like that.
usage, how many
It's
gallons.
prorated even, how many gallons they use. We have, just to give you an idea, say somebody in industrial park, Link Cup, okay? Pretty big business. They hook up their tap fees. I'm just throwing this out there, don't hold me to the figure. Probably their tap fees go by $45,000.
45,000?
Yeah.